Welcome to Sipping on Excellence. This is Coach KJ, and I'm here with my man, my dude, the Doc.
And this is where we will be discussing the exceptional that is absolutely attainable. My friends, here's to living that extraordinary life.
Cheers.
What's wrong with this cat today?
When you were messing with the volume buttons, I was like, yeah, just in case we get the... You remember, what's that from?
I have no idea.
In you guys on YouTube World. What was that? Damn it, now I can't remember the movie. Oh, Something About Mary. Remember when they were, the guy panned across and he saw the grandma? And she had her boobs out.
Oh, yeah.
This.
You noticed the most obscure shit in the movie, boy.
Oh, man. Them Fairly
Hilarious.
Brothers. I watch anything they made back in the day.
Man, that was a good movie.
The 90s, oh, yeah.
That was a good movie.
hilarious.
Hey, y'all. Welcome. Another episode of Sipping on Excellence.
Another funny episode of Sipping on Excellence.
Yeah,
I'm going to say funny today.
Yeah, we just finished a great live. Thanks for all you guys who tuned in.
Yes.
If you haven't been tuning in every week, Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock, we're on IG Live. And we hit you hard. Y'all come at us hard, we come at you hard. And it's a great it's a great time to have a conversation with us.
Yeah.
We tell everybody on the live and to you guys in YouTube world and on the podcast, send us your comments, man, because that's how we know what you guys want to hear. Otherwise, we're just talking about daily life shit.
I think today, boy, we might get comments.
We might get comments. They were on fire. They were like, we don't have enough time. I'm like, send us some DMs.
We were rebel rousing today.
We were fucking poking some bears today.
Neither one of us should be laughing today.
Oh,
We're both
man.
coughing. It's quite entertaining. It's Coach KJ's fault.
Y'all just gonna have to bear with us. If y'all hear food coughs on here, and so be it. The content's still good.
Yeah, you know we real.
Yes,
we ain't faking this one.
It ain't edited. This is straight from the dome, and
we try to get in that cutesy stuff in the beginning, like, oh, let's go ahead and cut that part out, or let's cut leave it all in.
We always preach real and authentic, and then we try to put a condom on it. No, we just need to stay raw. For real.
Damn.
Yeah.
He came hot with that one.
I'm just on one today, y'all.
He is.
I hope y'all can bear with it. If you can't, tune out.
Yeah, my goodness.
But click like first.
Man, you better stop laughing, bro.
Shit.
It'll make it rough.
Oh,
It'll
man.
make it rough. So how are you doing, man? What I hear a little something going on. How was your week?
Man, not really under the weather. I guess this is my version of under the weather.
Okay.
But just having this cough, this lingering cough, and feeling fatigued without having a moment to rest and sit with that. Because the week is busy. My weeks are always busy.
Okay. I was gonna say, what did you learn about this week? I mean, I heard what that part was.
I learned that I need to chill sometimes. But did have something good happen this week.
Oh,
we
tell my friend.
Foundation, man. We signed an agreement with a group in Ethiopia to really start taking what we've been doing to a whole nother level. Educating kids, putting shoes on feet, putting nurses in touch with people to teach. I mean, we got a lot going on, so I'm doing it ain't shameless. This is our platform, so I'm doing a plug for the Hunt Foundation.
I was literally about to say, make sure that when we post this on YouTube, also on the final cut, for Instagram and everything, I think you need to make sure that that's posted.
Yeah,
it's vital.
We're taking the Hunt Foundation, what we do internationally, we're taking this to a whole nother level. And a lot of hard work by a lot of good people, but at the end of the day, man, you can't get unless you give.
I say that all the time.
And you only get what you give. And we're on this planet.
To give.
We're not alone.
No.
And so stop living like you are.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
So everything I do in my life is to help enhance the lives of myself and the people around me. And the people around me are everybody who sits on this planet.
Well, funny thing is, you said the Hunt Foundation is going international. You guys started off international.
Yeah, I say we're growing. We're
You're growing internationally.
Yeah. We've done more international than we've done local, and to me, that's just how we were. That's what we wanted to do. The Hunt Foundation was built to bring education and healthcare to places around the world that don't have access. If you live in this country, you have access. You just need to take advantage of it. So I don't feel bad for you. You have access.
Right.
Even if it's the shittiest access, it's still 1,000 times better.
It's a start
than other places on this planet.
Some people don't have a start.
No, you have a starting point. They just don't. Like these kids we're getting ready to help out. 110,000 of them or something. They haven't been to school in 3 years because of pandemic and then conflict, war. So there's, you heard me right, 110,000, kind of crazy. So I'm soon, because I never do this, I'm soon going to ask y'all to start reaching in your pocket to help me out because my brother and I can't do it all alone. So stay tuned. Anyway, I just wanted to plug that because that was a good thing that happened this week.
Very much so.
And it's a positive, feel good kind of vibe before we kick y'all in the nuts today. Coach, how was your week, man?
My week was good, man. My week was good. Realizing I'm probably close to too many people because between you and my wife, y'all both sound a little funky today.
While he up in here grinning and smiling.
Started laughing like the little monkey that did this.
Right?
With the tambourine.
Right?
That's me right now. Because I'm like, no, I'm not sick. I don't feel it. But I gave it to everybody, and they're sicker than I was. Yeah. So, oh, well, my bad, yo. No, no. This week was good, man. It's like the idea and the thought pattern of coaching is like sometimes you kind of forget that you're always in this space of. And you're talking about giving back. Sometimes you just have to give, and the level of assistance and showing up in people's lives when they least expect it. And it's kind of like giving roses beyond Valentine's Day.
Well, it's the concept of giving without somebody having to ask you for it.
Right. Can you come? No, you just go. You know? And that also, I'm pretty okay with what I do. You're
kind of nice with it.
Yeah, you find them level of gems. It's the idea always is not this platform of speaking to people with my ideas. It's speaking to people where they're at and talking to them and sharing with them where they're at. People, they're not here. They're not on a Z that day. They're on a B. And be able to talk to them when they're at the B. Not every day is the same day.
True. Very true. You
can't expect to be there all the time. And what there is whatever it is in their mind. So
absolutely. We got a lot to talk about today, y'all. We got a lot to talk about.
It can be a lot or it can be very little.
But what's interesting is exactly everybody's gonna You'll understand this. There's going to be nothing esoteric about this. You're going to understand it. And
that was a pretty word right there.
Like we talked about earlier, people like to use big words to sound smart. I'm going to start using all kinds of spelling bee words. Whether it makes sense or not. Remember in Living Color, dudes when they were in prison? Yeah. when it was David Allen Greer and it was Damon Wayans in jail. It was Damon Wayans using the words. He's like,
man, that was Metamucil.
Right? Hilarious. That was when TV was good, man. When shit was just funny.
The first 2 seasons of Living Color?
You couldn't put that on TV now because of how much stuff is just not politically correct.
Yeah.
How many people would be triggered by some of the stuff they say.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we talked about on the live today.
Oh my god.
Triggered.
The triggers.
I got triggers for you.
A whole bunch of Yosemite Sams out there
I got
just
some triggers
rooting in the
for
tooting
you.
and shooting in the Putin.
Right?
Man, get out of
Come
your
on,
way.
man.
And
Fuck
get
outta
out of
here
mine on the way.
Man, get the hell out of here with that shit. Anyway, yeah, so it was that was when TV was TV, when you could just
Oh, and it was insensitive.
nobody cared.
Nobody cared.
Nobody was, there was no group that was exempt. Everybody was getting hit. Yes. All y'all were getting punched in the mouth, and it was funny.
Yes.
It was, God, I miss those days.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man. But we're gonna talk about before we get into the topic of what's wrong with y'all.
Okay.
And it's funny because the need for approval, the need for people saying, oh yeah, I like you, all of that came up with somebody who started following Coach and I on IG. And if she's listening, cool, I feel you're gonna probably not like this, but this was last week we were talking about. Was it on our live? I think it was on our live.
I think it was our live.
We were talking about lies and makeup and how people say men lie about what they do and all this stuff, but women lie about their appearance. They wear makeup, all the filters, and how now you can basically change everything about you on a dating app.
Right.
And then the real you shows up. So somebody decides to tag us in a bunch of emails, tag us in a bunch of stuff, and reach out to us asking, okay, here's what I look like without makeup. What do you guys think? Rank me, this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, it's deeper than that. Your issue, the fact that you're going to reach out to a couple strangers who are on a podcast asking us to rank you, looking for some validation. We didn't respond. And we didn't respond because, one, if we feed into it and say, oh, well, this is what we think of you, because we weren't talking about ranking people from 1 to 10.
No.
And we didn't.
We were talking about how people show up in their lives.
Right, and how people see themselves. And what we think of you shouldn't matter.
Right.
But then you kept going on and on and on about this. She kept going on and on about this. And
created a whole post.
Around what we would think of her with no makeup on and this, that, and the other.
But it was so encrypted as well.
Yeah.
It's like she knows us, but she doesn't know it. It was so weird. It's kind of creepy.
It's almost like you weren't listening to what we were saying.
No.
And we're wrong if we say you're a 1. We're wrong if we say you're a 10. Anything in between, you're going to be pissed off about. So why would we
entertain?
Why would we go there?
From 1 to 10. Because that's not
Why?
what we're here. We weren't here to critique. We were talking about how people are not showing up as themselves. They're hiding behind, this facade, and then wondering why what happens on the back end, like people, oh my God, who is this person in front of me?
Right, when they run scared at that time.
Yeah, exactly.
We weren't talking about how people look. We were saying you look different than how you portray yourself.
Correct.
We didn't say good or bad. We just said you're looking different.
Mm-hmm.
Some of y'all look busted. Sorry. Some of y'all look hot and have busted attitudes. Either way, you're busted.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot that goes into it. So again, like on our live today, we were talking about how we speak A to B, very direct. This is one of those instances where somebody's listening to what we're saying and twisting it all up.
Yeah. And then we become toxic.
Yeah. So just, know that our conversations are what they are. They're very direct. We say what we mean, and don't go fishing. And none of us should do this. Don't go fishing for compliments. I hate when people fish for compliments.
Oh,
there's nothing
how do you
think I look today?
There's nothing more, or I should say less attractive than fishing for compliments.
Especially if it's your significant other and she's like, babe, how do I look? Different.
That's different.
But somebody random, you can tell when they're starting to fish for compliments and starting to, no, stop.
Yeah.
You don't need validation from me. You don't. I don't know you. It's that simple.
I have nothing to say with it,
dude.
And
Kind of crazy.
Yeah. But we got pushed this week. That was unexpected. I was
Yeah,
like,
right?
He said, "Did you see?" I said, "No."
I'm like, dude,
and
check
I
your
looked,
likes and DMs.
He said,
man.
"I didn't even read it." I said, next thing you know, I'm reading the whole thing. Like, I'm confused.
Right?
Who is she talking to? What is going on?
Yeah, confused the shit out of me.
Yeah.
The other thing that I thought is not a what's wrong with y'all, but a what's wrong with us. Remember the post I showed you about the kids in Japan? Mm-hmm. So I showed Coach this post, and I sent it to my brother and his wife because it was talking about how kids in Japan are raised. Like, you go to Tokyo, you see young kids roaming the streets. You see young kids in the subway by themselves, like really young kids, 6, 7, 8 years old. And in the Japanese culture, it's just known that as a collective, they take care of the kids.
Right.
So nobody messes with the kids. I thought it was very cool that the kids who are wearing yellow hats are the younger kids
Give
who
them identity.
It lets them know, they may need some help at some point. They need help crossing the street, but yet they navigate the subway system. And I don't know if you've ever been to Tokyo, but the public
That was a trip 2 years ago.
the public transportation is phenomenal. Yeah, the subway is phenomenal, and easy to navigate, whatever. And so the fact that their kids are comfortable roaming the streets, going to grocery stores, doing all this stuff. What's wrong with us here? We can't do that here because there's so many things you have to worry about. Think about when we were kids, we used to roam the streets. Now, my nephews, when they were little, we wouldn't let them ride their bike around the corner and all that.
The funny thing about
Excuse me, y'all.
And when we were kids, right? Like, say, for instance, you go to certain blocks. There were certain blocks that we didn't go to because there were certain kids on that block we didn't mess with. So we didn't go down those blocks.
Right.
But I remember riding my bike all the way, it's like several miles to get to my boy's house.
Yeah.
I remember riding with him to the beach and then like hightailing it home because
They get home before dark.
Yeah, before them street lights come on.
But now you can't do that because people are so, and you see it here in this country, people are so crazy. You have kids getting trafficked. You have kidnappings. There's all this crazy shit. And why is it in places like Japan, they're not worried about that?
Give culture versus take culture.
And it's just
Give into the young so that way the young can grow up and matriculate to adulthood and be good people. To the community as well, so they can keep on growing into that community. Versus us, it's take culture.
And what people don't realize is that this is a prime example how we as Americans can learn from other cultures.
But we know best, right?
We're always like, we're at the top of the food chain. We're better than everybody else. Really? Are we? Are we really?
I can't wait for Meg 2 to come out,
dude. Right? And I'm happy to be a citizen where I am. The rights and privileges that I have in this country, great. But shit, we could do better.
Always,
we could do better. And the problem is when people think we can't, that we don't need to. That's where shit lies.
Think about healthcare,
everything. Healthcare.
Government.
We've talked about this before. How we spend the most money on this planet on healthcare, and the number 2 is like 5 times less than us. But yet, in quality of healthcare, we're ranked maybe in the top 30, top 20, something like that. We're nowhere near the top 10 in quality of healthcare, but but healthcare costs the most in this country.
Yet you got millions of people going to medical school every year.
Right, and then people are like, "Oh, you should," then you're talking all that. You should make less money.
No.
Really? Is that I should make less money? Is that the real problem with the healthcare system? Or is it the insurance companies? Is it big pharma? Is it everybody else who's making billions? And I've always said this. People in healthcare, be it any facet of healthcare, nurses, techs, doctors, them and teachers are grossly underpaid.
100%.
Because the person who taught you how to make your billions makes less than your secretary.
Right.
Tell me where that's right. And then you worry about how come the education system in the U.S. is so much, how students around the world learn so much more than we do. You know, we're not tops in math. Every student everywhere else in the world learns multiple languages growing up. We don't, because this is America. Everybody should speak English.
It's not even our language.
Yeah, we don't have a national language.
We don't have a national language.
Yeah.
So why should we not learn every language?
Or learn something
several.
else.
Learn several at
Yes.
an early age.
Yes, when you'll keep it.
Not until you get to high school and you're taking Spanish.
And you have to take Spanish or French or something for a year or two just to
You should
graduate.
be starting off like, okay, well.
From preschool, they should be teaching you another language.
Yeah.
Because the world is effing small. Yeah. I don't care how,
I mean, even think about it if they just taught a Latin derivative. You know what I mean? Because it's the basis.
Yes.
Of 3 different languages.
And if you're teaching somebody these languages as a young child when they're a sponge, that's the best time. Our brains are like freaking bricks now.
You're
at
fighting
50.
it. Yeah.
You don't want to learn. You don't. Most of us don't want to learn anything new. We're uncomfortable with change. We're uncomfortable with anything that we don't see suits us right now.
Yeah. Look how many people don't read in America.
Exactly, which makes no sense. Why?
And some people are dying.
We don't have
education.
We don't have
books.
Yeah, and we don't have. I mean, this project we're working on. One of the things they asked for, we need books, because you know why? They teach them in English, because you know why? They know that in English they can navigate the world a little better on top of their native tongue.
Wow.
Yep. Go answer that. But yet we don't teach anybody things here in our education system that'll help people navigate the world better. Only help us navigate America better.
Yeah.
You know? And so this is going to lead into our topic of what we're talking about today, being alone and lonely. This country is quickly becoming alone in the world.
Right.
I mean, and we'll get into all of that. But that was my sort of what's right and what's wrong. What's right with other people and what's wrong with us. You know, now what's wrong with y'all? This is an us problem. All of us are at fault.
Yeah.
Including Coach and I. We're all part of this.
Aiding and abetting that behavior.
Yeah.
That
And
culture.
it's just, when are we going to do right? When are we going to actually act right?
Right. I mean, it's the same thing we were talking about on the live, just the idea of us becoming better humans, engaging, sharing our thoughts and our feelings so we can grow together. I don't have to always take on what you're delivering, but I'm not going to say you're toxic. I'm not going to say you're the worst.
Right.
I'm not
Do you feel that people are not interested? They're more interested in having more than they are interested in being more.
Oh, having more.
Right. People want more, but they don't want to be more.
And they don't want to do more to get more, to have more.
That's a problem. It is. It's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a real problem.
On a very small scale, it reminds me when I used to train. It reminds me when. It reminds me when I used to train a lot of golfers at the country club that I trained out of. And, at that time, Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods was end all be all.
Right.
He trains hard. He works hard. Okay, you understand that we're going to have to do this. And, that's a lot, man. I don't know. I said, you got to eat this. You got to do that. It's like, so you don't want to do what Tiger Woods does. So
I want to be Tiger Woods, but I don't want to. But I don't want to put in Tiger Woods' work.
Okay, first of all, you're never going to get there because you're in your late 50s. So relax, bro. His
Tiger
body is in
done.
his 20s, 30s, and look what happened to his body. Abuse. Absolute abuse. And he didn't sleep.
No.
So there's no rest to recover. Anyway, that's a whole different story.
But people want, but don't.
They want the end, but they don't want to do what it takes to get to the end.
They are focusing on the wrong thing.
Yeah.
They're focusing on the destination and not the journey.
Mm-hmm.
And the journey's the fun part.
Yeah. And no respect for it.
Yeah, for real.
A lot of us don't have the respect or well intentions or even a mindset wrapped around what's going on at the time. We're so busy looking for the next. We're chasing. We're not living in that moment and receiving all the wonderful shit that you're being put through to grow. Good Lord, man. It's all right here, right now.
You just got to grab it. Yeah. Before we get in this topic, man, let's get to this drink.
Yeah.
Just so I can cool these vocal cords and loosen up a little bit. Get a little loose.
Get a little sultry.
Get a little loose.
Get a little sultry in your talk.
We got a cocktail, y'all. It's called an Agent Orange.
Well, you know we're always going to have a cocktail.
Oh, it's so this one.
Most times.
This one here is
what's it called again?
Agent Orange.
Okay.
Vodka, Cointreau, what's the other one? Grand Marnier, and orange juice. Look in the bio or look in the readout for the actual mixture. Shake it up, pour it up in an martini glass. Dude, it's great. Cheers, brother. Cheers to you guys.
Cheers. Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys know Coach and I are, it's well known that we are not vodka drinkers. But we promised that we would switch it up and keep you guys
on your toes.
Or on your back, however it happens. You drink enough of these.
I'm trying to stay on my toes with this one.
Right. Nah, it's a good cocktail, though.
It is.
Coach and I have always talked about this topic, and we decided, let's just go at it today. And when we were talking about it this week, we were like, yeah, we can get into this, and we can sink our teeth into this.
The funny thing is, not knowing, we both had conversations on Instagram about it.
Yes.
And, you know, it's just
and so it just, we're like, it's meant to
I
be.
I guess this is it.
Yes, we talking about it.
Tell me about it.
So I made a post the other day and we talked about, you know, time and being present and, you know, and just being with yourself and spending time with yourself. And, you know, just because you're alone doesn't mean that you have to be lonely. Does that make sense? And we talk about being alone and being lonely are two very different things. You could be in a crowded room and be lonely as shit, or you can be by yourself and be completely content.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of feeling lonely is a feeling. Being alone is just a state of being.
State of being, that's what I was
going to say. Yeah. And so there's times when, like, for example, you know, as big as this, and we started off by, let's start big, the country.
Of course.
With some of the policies and politics and things that we've been doing around the world, we are really starting to become a country that is becoming more and more alone in this world. And pretty soon, if we stay on this same pathway, we're going to find ourselves as a country being lonely because nobody's going to fuck with us.
Yeah.
You know, they're already talking about taking our currency and not making it the world currency anymore. You know, so we're slowly becoming, we can't get out of our own way.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost 100 years.
Yeah.
I mean, we became the superpower after we
dropped that big ass bomb.
2. I think it was 2 on a little island.
And are we super because we killed a whole bunch of people? Does that make us super? Or does it make us super because we have the ability to kill a whole bunch of people? And we try to keep other people from having the ability to kill other people, to kill a lot of people.
World police.
We can have a nuclear weapon, but you can't. Because we're better at controlling ourselves than you are, but yet we're the only nation in the world that's ever used it.
Right.
Sit on that one. Right. Think about that one for a minute. We'll get back to the U.S.
I mean, the closest thing is Chernobyl, and they
and that was an accident.
They pooped in their own backyard.
Exactly. But one question I get asked all the time, we're gonna bring it to sort of relationships. People are like, "You're single. You live alone. Aren't you lonely?" And the first thing I tell people is, "Nah, I'm alone, but I'm not lonely."
Oh, yeah.
And then I bring up the fact that I'm like, I know plenty of people in relationships who are married or have significant others that are lonely as shit.
In my first marriage, I was lonely.
Yeah, tell us about it. Like what? How can someone be with someone and still be lonely? Explain that one.
Well, I mean, we were two married single people. You know, I had an idea going into marriage. This is the person I want to be with. She had an idea of marriage, and you know, I mean, I feel this is what she was going through, but I don't think she ever saw it that way. She had an idea of getting married and being in this. It fit into her scheme. It's like I'm married. I got the house. I got this car. I got this life. I got this job.
She was checking all the boxes.
Yeah, she was checking all the boxes, but not knowing that you have subtext to all the boxes that you're not filling out and that you overlooked.
Yeah.
You know, you buy the house, you have to pay the bills. You buy the car, you got to pay the bills. You get the husband, you have to do things together. You have to love each other. You have to have sex with each other. You know, be present to each other. You know, all those things.
Yes.
She kind of missed out on a lot of those skills,
right?
You know, and it was like the trips and this and that, the family trips, because that's what you do when you are married, but not necessarily being together.
Yeah, you almost become roommates.
Oh,
but here's 100%. The funny
100%.
thing is, it's probably even less than just roommates, because with roommates,
it's worse.
With roommates, you're still cool and you're not lonely because you're like, that's my roommate, we're good. Now you're roommates that are lonely and you sleep in the same bed.
If you do.
You know, which sleeping in the same bed is an argument that I'll fight all day. I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah.
That's not what makes you close. Yeah. You know, you can sleep next to a stranger in the same bed.
Right.
And a lot of you out there are sleeping next to strangers, even though you share the same last name. Go think about that shit. Now, oh yeah, I'm getting deep with y'all shit today. Y'all ready? You know, you guys come at me about, like, dude, you're going to be lonely. You're not married. You're this, that, and the other. You people are more lonely than I am.
You people.
There's a whole lot of you married people out there that are way lonelier than me. I'm living life, you know, and if somebody comes into my life, I'm still fine being alone. So if you come into my life, I'm not gonna be lonely with you. You're either gonna enhance my life and we're gonna be cool together, but I'm fine alone. And that's the problem I see with a lot of people. There are a lot of people, like you see those people that jump from relationship to relationship.
They do not.
They can't be single.
Yeah.
And purely because they don't know how to be alone.
I don't even call them relationships. I call them seat fillers.
Yes.
You take the good aspects, you run with that. Like, okay, yeah, you're gonna fill this seat this time and to the next time.
You know, or like for example, I was talking to some friends the other day, and we were just talking about dating in LA, and they were like, "Yeah, you don't go on a lot of dates. What's going on?" I'm like, because I don't date people just to have something to do. My time is valuable, and everybody's time is valuable. So why am I going to waste mine and yours?
You just choose to respect your time.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm perfectly fine sitting on my couch, having a pizza, watching Netflix, chilling by myself. If I choose to have you in my presence, because I know your time is valuable and so is mine. And it's not just because, oh, I'm lonely, let me see who's available. Somebody tried to accuse me of that years ago. Like, oh, you only call me when you're feeling lonely. Actually, no, I'm never feeling lonely. I called you to go out because I wanted to see you. And now that you've made that statement, I no longer want to see you. So thank you for shooting yourself in the fucking foot.
Yeah.
You know, it's
but that's also the issue with people out there in the world where they're taking information and they have to twist it so it'll fit and justify how they feel inside about themselves. They just don't want to have that conversation with themselves, which is what we were talking about earlier, about themselves. They rather put it onto someone else. So now you are not wanting to see me because you're lonely.
Right.
You know, you're wanting, I mean, you want to see me because you're lonely, as opposed to you just want to see me, and I just go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's why can't we just be in that moment?
Or I can say, you know what? Right now,
It's because
you know
she's
what?
triggered.
Yeah, she's triggered because because she thinks I made a booty call at 6 p.m.
I'm a grown ass man.
I don't do booty calls. What the fuck is that?
Grown ass man.
I called you because I said, you know what? Let's go to dinner.
Wow.
I got to eat. You got to eat.
We haven't seen each other in a while.
I haven't talked to you in a couple months.
It'd be a good exchange.
Well, you only call. Well, I'm sorry. You didn't blow up my phone. Phones work both ways. They dial out as well as receiving a call.
Real talk.
So just
Real
like
talk.
I can call you, you can call me. Mm-hmm. It's always one-sided. The pursuer and the pursued.
You better call Tyrone.
But it's one of those things where, and then people, like, you see these older guys who they've been married 3, 4, 5 times, and you ask them, like, why do you keep getting married so often? And they're like, well, I don't want to die alone. And here's the funny shit. I told this to somebody the other day. They're like, dude, aren't you afraid of dying alone? I'm like, when I die, I'm gonna be alone. Everybody's not dying with me. So I am going to die alone. Will there be family and friends and people around? I hope. But when I die, I'm still gonna be alone when I die. Yeah. But people don't grasp that concept. And so don't find yourself wanting to be with people just to have somebody around because you need a distraction.
Man, let me tell you. I mean, think about it. I'm a married man. I'm not alone. I'm also not lonely when I'm with my wife. But every once in a while, especially when I train, I'm going to gyms. I'm getting volume from people. And when I'm in the gym, I'm getting volume not only from people, but I'm getting volume from the music is blaring. It's so many people, dynamics. I'm like, I just want to be alone in silence, in my own head, my own thoughts, my own feelings, be able to just.
Yeah, because what we do every day, we're around. Our jobs are service industry jobs.
Correct.
We're around people all day, all day,
and thinking for them, not thinking we're thinking for them.
I'm listening to problems all day. I'm solving problems all day. I'm around hundreds of people all day. So if I come home and I don't want to do shit, it's not because I'm lonely. It's because I don't want to deal with you. Yeah. And if I come home and you're there and you're sitting on the other end of the couch and you're quiet and I'm quiet and we're not, it's not because I want to be alone. It's because I'm enjoying the fact that you're there and we don't have to say shit. Mm-hmm. Just be present. Every moment of being present doesn't have to be filled with conversation. I'm going to say that again because people feel that they need
Please say that.
People feel that they need to fill awkward silence. It's only awkward if you make it awkward. And you made it awkward by having to open your hole.
And I'm very good at making it awkward too.
It's
if I have to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I have absolutely no problem with silence.
Let me be present with you in all that means without having to have a conversation. Understand that. That's all it takes, And so when I come across people who, for example, you'll see a lot of women who stay in bad relationships. And you see it as it gets older, people will stay in bad relationships because they feel if they get out of it, their dating pool is smaller and smaller and smaller as we age and our expectations, et cetera. Which is a whole nother topic because men, as we age, our dating pool gets bigger. Women, as they age, their dating pool gets smaller. The more money they make, the older they get, the smaller their dating pool. And so people will stay in a shitty situation.
Right.
Because they'd rather be in a shitty situation than be alone.
Right. Even though
and that's crazy. Even though they're alone in they're lonely in their relationship.
They're lonely. Yeah.
But they're like, I'd rather have somebody and be not happy.
To me, that's sad.
Yeah, that's just, what kind of sense does that make, dude?
But that's also that what happens to their self-worth. I mean, they don't have it. It's not intact.
They never did. And they always say somebody takes it from them. No. It's your self-worth.
Yeah. You gave it away. There's never take away. It's always you gave it away. Or you never had it in the first place.
Well, nobody can take from you something that's yours. You got to give it to them. Right. When it comes to your pride, your self-worth, oh, he took my pride. No, you gave him your pride, or you gave her your pride. You let her emasculate you. Mm-hmm. You let him ruin your life. Mm-hmm. In a shitty relationship with, I know women who've been in abusive relationships with men, whether they're emotionally, physically abusive, etc. And they're like, he's good most of the time, and so I can deal with the bad.
They justify him. Because
the biggest thing, and it gets worse. I have a couple friends with kids who are not in great relationships, in a shitty relationship. And they won't get out of that relationship purely because they think, well, if I'm a single woman with kids, then nobody's going to want me. So the man you're with doesn't want you either, but it's easier for him to keep you around and treat you like shit than it is for him to divorce you and have to lose half his shit. Even though he treats you like shit. You're afraid to leave because financial reasons, or nobody's going to want a single mom with kids. Well, no, that's not true.
Right. And
nobody's going to want a single mom with kids who doesn't think highly of herself.
Correct.
Think about that.
Correct. I mean, level of abuse.
Yeah, I'm getting loose, y'all.
Thing is, you know what? No matter how much you're physically or verbally abused, nothing's worse than the abuse that you keep causing to yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
That what he's causing is just candles on the cake of how you're abusing yourself.
Now, if this doesn't go for the people who fear for their lives, who are threatened to be killed if they leave, shit like that. No. You have a boyfriend who just doesn't treat you great, but you stay with him until the next guy comes along. And we talked about that earlier, how every woman out there, and y'all can hate me or love me for this statement, you guys are born with opportunity, meaning, and I'm just talking about relationship opportunity. I'm not talking about financial, blah, whatever. Women are born with the ability to attract a man. Men have to work and gain the ability to attract a woman.
Right. Like we had the discussion earlier. We were talking about how if I have to I'm like, we're done, or like I get a divorce, a wife, if she decides after that divorce,
she'd go out that night and get a dude.
That night, 6 months, a year, whatever it is, she can go into a bar. If she wants to, she can. If a man goes out, same time frame, he has to cultivate an energy.
Yes.
Work it up. He has to work at it. He has to push buttons. He has to, he has to get in that position.
And that's why that comedian Corey Holcomb, what I was telling you about what he said, he got a lot of flack for this, but I think he's the one to say this. So, Corey, if I'm wrong, my bad, but if you didn't say it, you should. He was basically like, your woman, he's like, she's not yours. It's just your turn.
Right.
And people are like, what does that mean? Because there's a million dudes, or at least one dude, who's hovering in the background waiting for you to mess up, because then it's his turn. A dude, when he's with a woman, doesn't have a woman in the background hanging around saying, I can't wait till it's my turn. He's got, if something goes wrong in his current relationship, he then has to go attract a woman, cultivate, like you're saying, cultivate that relationship, and then maybe she'll want him.
Yeah.
A woman, I don't care by whatever standards you are on the attractive scale, there's always a dude in the background waiting for the dude you're with to jack something up. Like you were saying with the basketball analogy.
Yeah. I was going to say, unless he's Dexter St. John.
Good, right?
With the beautiful woman like you doing all alone.
But even he's got to work it a little bit.
He's got to work. He's got to swing it.
He's got to swing it. And he's got to have that accent. But these are all things, and he's got to catch her at the right time.
Yes, exactly.
You know, and so that's the difference between the abilities of men and the abilities of women in attracting the opposite sex. Yeah. You know, women, you guys have it easy when it comes to being able to choose who you want. Men, we have to work hard to be able to get what.
And speaking into terms of like what we're talking about, women have an opportunity to choose to be alone or lonely. Men have to work on being not lonely and being alone in many ways.
Yeah. And
would
so,
you say that?
Yeah. No, I would say women in general. Women won't ever be alone because there's always a dude or somebody around. Right. But women will be very lonely purely for the fact that as long there's so many women, there's so many people around, even some of the most beautiful women in the world are lonely as shit because there's men coming at them, but the people that they want in their life aren't there. Right. They're not being filled. Their spirit's not being filled. Men aren't as lonely because they have their boys. They have, if there's a woman around, they think as long as there's somebody around, they're not lonely. As long as they're not alone, they're not lonely. Yeah. Women will be in a crowd with a bunch of people and still be lonely.
That's where I was getting at with that.
Excuse me, y'all, but it's a crazy situation. A lot of you guys will. There's always exceptions, so don't fucking come at me. There's always exceptions to the rules, but you create your own space of loneliness. And it's because in that space of loneliness, you're looking towards outside sources to fulfill you. Mm-hmm. If you understand the concept of self-fulfillment, you will never be lonely. Mm-hmm. It's that simple. Mm-hmm. Now,
because
you may
your
be
time
alone
will
a lot.
always, your time will always be filled.
And once you understand you're making decisions after you've been fulfilled from self, you'll never choose the wrong dude. Or you'll never choose the wrong woman because you won't be choosing somebody out of loneliness. You'll be choosing somebody out of want and not out of need. You know, too many people say, oh, I need a man in my life so I don't be lonely. Yeah, that's bullshit. Try not being lonely first, then go find a man. Try not being lonely first, then go find a woman. I know dudes who jump from girlfriend to girlfriend who are serial monogamous because they can't be alone. They break up, and then the next woman they start dating,
they're in,
and then the woman's moving in 2 weeks.
You didn't even get the scent of the old one out.
Dude. And it's like, what are you doing, man? You just can't be single. And I know...
And that goes down to self-love. It comes right back to self-love and self-respect. You know what I mean?
I don't think they know what that is. Yeah, I think once you get so caught up in seeking approval from from other people, your whole being thrives off of approval from other people, like what we talked about on the live today, caring what other people think. Then you're lonely when you're not getting that feedback from others, when you should be fulfilling that yourself, you know? And so hence why I say you take somebody who's always seeking for external approval and you put them in a room where nobody's giving them that external approval. They're in a room full of people and they're lonely as shit. Mm-hmm. If they walk into that room with the confidence of an Andrew Tate, you know, chest high, like, I don't care if anybody in this room likes me or approves of me, I'm still the baddest cat in the room, he doesn't feel lonely. No. You look at a woman who walks into a room confident and every head turns, not because of the way she looks, but because of something they see in her spirit. Right.
She's connected to herself.
She's not lonely. I can look, and from a hello, I can tell if a woman's lonely or thirsty. It's so easy. And you can tell a man who's lonely, a man who's thirsty. What does he do? For example, my brother and I used to talk about this all the time. When you have no women on your roster as a single dude, a woman can smell that on you.
It's kind of like a job.
Yeah. But once you have a woman or you're dating one or two, you have a different swagger about you, as in, I'm not going to let you do bullshit because I have two people that are, or three people that I'm feeling out to see who's going to get the starting position. And so when a dude has no woman, a woman can really tell, like, huh. I heard somebody say this the other day. I don't want a guy who doesn't hook up with anybody, who doesn't have the ability, because that's shitty. Why would I want somebody nobody else wants? And that's why we talked about this earlier, why people are so, like, women are so attracted to married men. You know what I mean? You see a guy who's married, the first thing you think of is, number one, somebody else really wants this guy. Number two, he has the ability to commit. And that's why subconsciously, women will go, I don't want a married guy, but subconsciously, it's something triggers in their head.
The type of person he is. They want the identity of that guy. They don't necessarily want a married guy, but they want what he provides. They're like, oh, he's stable. He gets it. He's a good man.
And here's the difference. A man sees a woman with a wedding ring, and the first thing he's thinking of is, I don't want that. Somebody else has it. Mm-hmm. Think about it. I see if I'm out and a woman has a ring on her finger, whether it's a wedding ring or not, if it's on that finger, conversation just doesn't even happen. She could be using it as a deterrent, or it's just a costume ring. You put it on that finger, you don't even get a conversation from me, because I'm like, oh, she's got somebody. Yeah. I'm not trying to battle that, whatever that is. I don't want that.
You know, and we talked about this earlier. When I was married the first time, my ex-wife didn't want me. I mean, she wanted me to wear my ring, and I just would not wear it. I was in a large gym environment. I mean, huge gym environment, and thousands of members. That type of gym, and I'm there all day long. And I was like, I'm not wearing this ring. I mean, you want me to come home safe and sound? I need to not wear this ring to come home safe and sound, because they think, they don't know, if they're introduced to me, they don't know that I'm married. They know that I'm this single guy. The single guy looks a little desperate.
Exactly.
He's thirsty. I'm not thirsty. I'm just trying to train you. I just want to make that in. I'm a flirt to get you in, to get them in.
Right.
But I'm not trying to smash at all. But what ended up happening was, she's like, you need to wear your ring. I would wear my ring. Greater attention. Immediately. Hey, how you doing? How long you been? The conversation changes. It's not about them losing weight or getting in shape. It's like, how long you been married? What?
Are you happy?
Are you happy? Yep. Every single time.
Yep.
Every single time. No, and it's a 1, 2, 3 every single time.
There's no bigger, quote unquote, chick magnet than a wedding ring.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been movies about it.
Yeah.
Because there's a reason why we as men always say that, you guys, because we're telling you the truth. If I wanted women to come at me 24/7, I could just, hey, dude, let me borrow your ring for the day. I'm going to go out here and be an evil dude and smash. Can I borrow your ring for a week?
The sad part is, now you can go online and buy a whole bunch of rubber ones.
Exactly.
Because everybody's wearing those CrossFit ones.
Dude, it's funny, because it's that whole concept of, he's got the ability to commit.
Right.
And he's got a woman, so somebody else wants him. And so, God, I just want. And the thing is, if you ask them outright.
And I'm lonely.
Yes. And if you ask them outright, they won't consciously say, well, no, I'm attracted to him because he's married. It's a subconscious thing that y'all don't even know happens, but you look at married men differently. Like, wow, she's lucky. For example, who's more attractive? A man that shows up to a club with his boys, or a dude that shows up to a club with like 3 or 4 women?
You know it.
I always used to say, women attract other women, because now they want to see what she sees in you. If you take that same dude, and me and you and my brother roll out, the level of attention we get is going to be very different than when I roll out with some of my female friends.
Funny story.
Yeah.
I I used to, especially when you ain't got no money, you always take the little samples, and you take a little sample, put a little sample,
dab it on the go.
dab it on the go, dab it on the go. Hey,
Okay.
this is a good sample. I kept putting this one sample on. It's like, okay, just an attractor, just absolutely an attractor. So one day I smelled it on somebody else. It was a woman. Found out it was Bijan for women.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, these women but they were attracted to the smell of another woman. And of course, with my pheromones of masculine
it
pheromones,
changes
it changed the whole dynamic.
Yep.
So I was like, oh, well, shit, I'm just going to wear female cologne all the time, perfume.
Dude.
This is a killer.
And it's that whole concept of just wanting what somebody else has. And these people are like, I could care less. Like if I see a woman coming with a dude, that makes her less attractive to me, not more attractive. Because I see her with a dude and I'm like, damn, he got her. My ego's like, then she don't need me. Especially if I look and see that in my mind, and this is going to sound fucked up, but in my mind, he seems like a lesser dude to me and he was able to pull you. Yeah.
But what's interesting about you is that you're still a part of the go-getter guys. You go out into the world and you find versus going on an app.
Yeah, I
We
can't.
talked about that.
Yeah.
So I think that I find that amazing. I find that amusing, and
I have
and
no
you're
problem.
Actually,
I have no problem saying hi to somebody.
I mean, you're a bald eagle, bro. You just a soaring bird by yourself.
Yeah,
you need a national park.
And if I tell people all the time, I have no problem saying hello.
Yeah,
Hey, what's your name?
yeah.
I have zero expectations after that statement.
The
only thing I expect from you is to say your name.
That means you are very okay with being alone.
Yeah, and I could walk away from that exact
Not
moment
lonely at all.
and not think about you again.
Yeah.
Good or bad. If you're like, get out of my face. Okay, cool. Have a good one. No, I'm fucking gone. I don't give a shit.
Remember
You
the day,
did not touch my ego.
Remember the days when nothing had phased you? You go out and get telephone numbers.
Yeah.
How many numbers you get?
Oh, you keep a pen in your pocket and just roll.
How many numbers you get? And then you mess up those one light pair of jeans where the pen leaked through.
Every time we would go out, dude, you got a pen? But I remember my brother, that dude could remember a telephone number like nobody's business.
I believe it.
And it was the funniest shit. So I'd be out, get a number, be like, all right, so I'd be like, just tell me your number. You ain't gonna remember. Really? Just tell me your number. I'll give you a call later. As soon as she tell me, I'll let him, Gino, remember this. And we get home after having drinks, all this. Dude, what was that girl's number who was in the blue? Oh, it was this. You sure? Come on, man. Yeah. Write it down. Sure enough. Never had to carry a pen. Or remember this number, and then later on, go to the bar, be like, hey, can you give me a pen real quick? Write it down on a napkin, put it in your pocket. Done.
Which is actually impressive.
Stop carrying any pens. And women be like, he ain't going to call me. I got a good memory. Don't worry.
Yeah. It's called my brother.
We got a good memory.
You know? It appeared to be impressive as well.
Absolutely. It's a game, you know?
Yeah.
And this whole male-female dynamic is about playing games, you know? Not games to manipulate.
It is always a game.
You know, but it's the game of life, you know? And it's not a game that you're trying to win. It's just a game that you both play to get just point B and C and D, you know. And you just got to play it well. Sometimes you're going to get, you know, kicked back. Sometimes you're going to jump ahead.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the way it is, man. It's just the way it is. And we just have to learn that being alone is not a bad thing. You have to learn that being lonely is purely up to you. Somebody's not going to make you feel lonely. You make yourself lonely. Now, you can feel alone and be alone even though you're in a relationship. If that's the case, fix it.
Yeah.
Tell your partner that you want them to be present. If they can't be present, forget the time they're spending with you. If they can't be present, then you need to figure out how to bounce. It's that simple.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that if you are feeling lonely and you are single, whatever it is, I don't care where you are in your life, single, married, I don't give a shit. If you are lonely, you need to ask yourself, what am I missing from me to love myself a little bit more? Where am I struggling at? What and then on top of that, find out what pleases you, what makes you happy, what do you enjoy. Just don't stay in this negative space of is what I don't have. What do you have? Where do you find joy and where do you find peace at? So that way you can enjoy those topics when you are alone. So when you're amongst others, you have something to share with them.
Yep.
Oh my God, I can't believe it all comes together for the human experience.
What?
Say what? my octaves don't go high anymore. Say what?
Right.
Doesn't work. My throat hurts.
Yeah, man. So, man, this was a good conversation, man.
A well worth conversation.
Hopefully, you guys, bear with us through this period of coughs and being a little under the weather.
You'll be fine.
But I think it was a conversation necessary. I think it's a conversation that we're going to have again and again. But yeah, this is what we do on Sipping on Excellence. Bring y'all some excellent shit to think about.
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. Where they gonna find you at, Doc?
At Lionel Hunt on Instagram, huntspine.com. Go check out thehuntfoundation.org and at Hunt Foundation. Coach KJ.
At Coach KJ Knows on Instagram and CoachKJ.com. That's where you're going to find me.
You're going to find us both on SOE_podcast on Instagram, and you'll find us both on podcastsoe.com. Send us your comments, likes, and
we
check
out.
us.